Good afternoon, everybody. Now, Parliament has gone absolutely insane. There is a bill going through Parliament which has been introduced by a backbench member that the government is backing to make wolf whistling a criminal offence with 2 years in prison. So if someone just wolf whistles a woman, like has been done for centuries in this country, that's now going to be a specific criminal offence. Now, harassment is already a criminal offence in the UK, all over the country, but there's been a lot of pressure over the last few years to make misogyny a specific hate crime to add to anti-Semitism, Islamophobia, homophobia, transphobia, and any other phobia you can think of. So this bill is going to be backed by the government. Now, the thing with this is, why this is so egregious, is that there is real violence against women and girls that has been happening in this country for nearly 40 years in the form of grooming gangs. And the people who are victims of those grooming gangs have gone to the police many, many times, and they've been told, we're not going to do anything about it, and you even reporting it is racist. But then they're coming up with this whole new draconian law to criminalize something that doesn't actually cause any violence whatsoever. Now let's look at wolf whistling. Some women like it. They like the attention. Some women don't. But if they don't, they can report that already as harassment. There's an article about this in some media outlets today, and actually a lot of them are quoting a statistic that says women under 34 feel like they are harassed the most, but they're least likely to report it to the police. So even if they do feel as though they're harassed, they don't, for some whatever reason, go and report it as a crime, which they should really do, because if they really are concerned about stopping harassment for themselves and for other people, the best thing to do is go and report a crime. But, if there is real harassment, go and report it. So actually adding a new criminal offence of street harassment above the normal offence of harassment that's already there isn't actually going to make much difference, because if people don't report it to the police and the police don't do anything about it, then, which they don't seem to do much about a lot these days. I mean, if you get burgled and you go to the police, good luck to you getting anything done about that. Most of the time they'll come back and say, well, you got insurance, okay, go and make a claim. Rather than trying to go and actually find and catch the burglars and stop them from burgling anybody else. So this is the situation we're in the UK. There's been a move to make misogyny a hate crime for a long time in the UK, and this seems to be what they're now pushing. But this is all at the behest of left-wing groups that want to expand the remit of so-called hate crime. And the purpose of this is to turn the law from being objective into being subjective. Look, okay, so if you wolf whistle somebody, or if you catcall someone, okay, say you see someone on the street and you say, hello, darling, for example. Okay, as I say, some women like that, some women might not like that, but no violence has been done. But people on the left actually would say, well, that is violence. They are actually trying to put the case that words are violence and should be treated as violence, when clearly they're not violence at all. Real violence needs to be dealt with. Those are objective things that are real criminal offences. But trying to expand the remit of crime to hate crime and subjectivity is just going to make everything completely not make sense, really, because there won't be any objectivity or objective criteria in deciding what is a crime or what is not. So one person can feel like that's a crime, and another person might feel like it's not a crime. And then, it depends on the feelings of the person that either claims or doesn't claim that they're a victim of harassment, that then whether it determines whether it goes to the police and onto the courts and so on. But the police and the courts seem to be over enthusiastic about pursuing anything that involves words, but they seem very, very uninterested a lot of the time in actually pursuing real crime that involves, for example, illegal immigration into the country, or grooming gangs, or burglary or arson or anything like that. So everything has been turned on its head, and this is quite shocking from a supposedly conservative government, which should be pursuing objectivity, not subjectivity in the law. So, warning, this is coming up, and we need to stop it, and we need to get rid of this fake conservative government, and also the Labour, Lib Dem, Green parties that will even go further than this and put in me and Heritage Party to restore real equality before the law and just simple basic common sense. You shouldn't have to go to prison, or you shouldn't be threatened with 2 years in prison for wolf whistling somebody. Okay, yeah, but fine or something if it is persistent and unwanted, and someone knows it's unwanted and they persist in doing it, that's harassment, absolutely. There's already a criminal offence for harassment when it is persistent and knowingly unwanted. But just the odd, like try something out, bit of banter or whatever, and you might end up for 2 years in prison. I mean, this really is going down the road of the Bolshevik Soviet Union, where they make up crimes which are not crimes and then accuse you of something and then send you to the gulag. This is where we're going in England and Wales with this fake conservative government. So it's time to get rid of them. Please come and join me in the Heritage Party to restore common sense and to turn our police and courts back on dealing with real criminals, not people who might just be a little bit silly in the street.